So, not too long ago, I made a video on the subject of black or white thinking, which to me is one of the most fascinating things. Um, it is all about this or that, all or nothing. Um, Basically, it voids both and together, right? Um, so, with black or white thinking, meaning this or that, um, I want to look closely at how the media in general, not just film and television, not just the news, literally everything, um, immaturely influences people because it just simply does. That's just the way that it is. You see it in film and television, you see it in how relationships are portrayed, right? It's more so like a fantasy thing, and this idea that one person is going to save the other person. Um, this immature way that the media kind of approaches subjects is not just black or white, but it's also thinking that as a full grown adult, it's literally teaching people that as a full grown adult, it's like you're just going to be swept off your feet and you're going to be taken care of and everything's going to be fine. And that's just not the reality of relationships, right? Um, but like when it comes to like the media and everything, you see a lot of division. And I know that I'm not the first to say that. I know that it's blatantly obvious. I mean, the media is just very good at painting this narrative that, us versus them, this versus that, what is better, what is worse. And in my honest opinion, it just creates a lot of both excess and exceedingly unnecessary noise where things just start to get blurry and I don't know. It's like, again, I'm going to put a major emphasis on the word unnecessary. Um, I'm pretty sure that I've had conversations with people about my feelings in regards to the media. And when I say the media, again, I mean specific film and television. By the way, I love the craft of acting. I am an actor myself. I'm not here to bash on film and television, but what I am here to do is to very clearly say that film and television paints a narrative for relationships that is just underdeveloped, and it's not the reality of how things actually work. That is for the success of a healthy relationship. But what I really want to look at specifically is just in general the media, and how it kind of creates a narrative of this or that, um, in many different ways in terms of people, us versus them, um, just in terms of everything. But the way that it influences people, right? The impact, the effect, right? It is exceedingly underdeveloped and immature. It is very unhealthy. Um, it's just not. It's not a practical way of approaching things. It's not a wholesome way of approaching things. It creates way too much noise that actually doesn't mean anything, right? And the fascinating thing is that whenever it comes to the media, I generally don't want to talk about it with people because I see all of that noise and I see what it does and I see that it goes absolutely nowhere. And people are like, "Oh, well, you got to talk about it. It's important, this, that, and the other." I would argue that the most important thing is to actually see everything for what it is, rather than what it is that you're being told what it is. A prime example of this, and we're in, you know, um, we're in the season of this. Politicians, right? they'll say a whole fuck ton of a lot of shit and then not do all of the whole fuck ton of a lot of shit that they said they would, right? Politicians are very good at influencing people. They're very good at leading people to vote for them, right? Even for the people who maybe were born yesterday. I'm just going to call it for what it is. It's noise and it's bullshit. And it gets people riled up, it gets people hyped up, it gets people, going this way or going that way, thinking this way or thinking that way. The most important thing that I communicate in this video is to help people understand this whole narrative of black or white thinking, right? It's just not healthy because it divides, it excludes, and it creates narratives that are not true. And I mean, I'm probably not the first to speak when I say that it's fucking exhausting, and it's just, it doesn't go anywhere. It really doesn't go anywhere. It's absurd. It's totally absurd. I know that this video kind of like veers off of track, makes me go into another lane than what it is that I'm usually used to. But what I'm really trying to do is utilize, black or white thinking, or utilize the ideas of black or white thinking and show how it's portrayed in the media, because there's a lot of noise in the media, and there's also a lot of influence that's going into people that is affecting people's lives from the media. And the media, I would argue, is a majority black or white thinking. Us versus them, this versus that. It voids both this and that, right? And both and is a mature and developed and healthy way of looking at things. This or that is an immature, underdeveloped, and unhealthy way of looking at things, because it creates division and it excludes. And, it's everywhere in the media and on the news. You see division, you see exclusion, you see all of that stuff. And let me take this a little bit further before I end this video. I know that I'm not the only person who has heard on the news that this person or that person is bad, or that this person or that person is good. This is another example of black or white thinking. The person can only be either good or bad. And the media does a really good job at displaying that and getting people to believe that people are either only good or only bad. And, actually, just kind of for a moment of honesty, it's kind of challenging for me to say this, even though there's nothing bad about it. It's just me kind of, not really a moment of honesty. I'm honest here. It's just that, like, the other day I found myself in a situation with somebody that I didn't know, and my mind started running wild with ideas about them and their intentions and what they could do. And I kind of went into, like, fight or flight. I didn't do anything, but my mind started racing with ideas and stuff. And then I realized that my mind was creating a narrative based on what it is that I heard on the news and in the media about this specific person, right? And I caught myself, and I was like, it's not to say that something couldn't happen or won't happen, but more so just seeing what was happening for what it was, recognizing that my mind was taking something from the news, something that is massively skewed and massively just, I guess the word to use is polarized. The news is good at doing that. Yeah, I created an idea, a generalization, and my mind ran wild, and I just had to take a step back. And I think that that's really just a good idea for this entire theme, taking a step back. not really jumping on the fucking biases, the bandwagons with everyone else, and everything else that's being said, all of the noise. Critical thinking seems to unfortunately be scarce in this day and age. But yeah, that's really how the media, the news, all the noise out there immaturely influences people. It's underdeveloped. It is, which is funny because stories are called. We have a story that is developing, but our opinion about it is going to be underdeveloped because we are underdeveloped, and we don't know how to see things as both and. We just see things as this or that, us versus them. This is Bob with the weather. Over and out. I had to.